Up next is the Aztecs. If I can just get into this stupid DVD plastic wrap. This might take a while. I need to develop some kind of tool I can use to open the stupid thing. It's been 3 weeks. I've got it. Sonic screwdriver. Let me just... Yep. I didn't think this would be this difficult. Oh, come on. Hey. 1964's The Aztecs is the 6th Doctor Who story following up after The Keys of Moranus, which, if you saw my review, you'll know I was quite favourable towards. I even went so far as to give it my second recommendation for anybody who's watching the first Doctor for the first time. An honour I would have loved to have bestowed upon the 7-part historical epic Marco Polo, if only just for the amazing loose cannon reconstruction. However, with that one being mostly lost to time, it's a bit of a hard sell for anyone who's trying to dip their toes into the classic series for the first time. Luckily, the Aztecs shares many similarities with Marco Polo. Yes, what we have with us today is another historical tale written by the same writer as Marco Polo, with the same passion for including various educational tidbits about different cultures' histories. This time, however, it's a modest 4-parter with simpler sets but the same exquisite costume design, give or take the pointed helmets with visible sellotape. As for the story, less than 2 minutes after landing, Barbara has already wandered off on her own, causing the TARDIS crew to chase after her, getting separated from the TARDIS in the process. I'm starting to see a lot of familiar setups and conclusions that I'm going to get into later. A group of Aztecs believe Barbara to be a reincarnated deity, which the TARDIS crew use to their advantage and initially have a little fun with before conflict eventually brews. Nice to see our characters having a laugh for a change. Although, without access to the TARDIS again, problems soon arise when Ian, Susan, and especially Barbara take issue with the Aztecs' custom of human sacrifices. The writer goes out of their way to include instances of characters pondering over cultural traditions, as well as mentioning that each historical culture always has both good and evil, with history often only remembering one side of that. A concept we very much still see a lot in today's society. There's an underlying theme in the Aztecs that's not overly developed, which brings into question regarding the moral conundrum of being a time traveller who technically possesses the ability to alter history, as well as the responsibility to show restraint. It doesn't pop up again until the very end, so it's ultimately not the main theme of all the episodes, but it is something handled well enough to get you thinking. Now, of course, anyone familiar with modern Doctor Who will be all too well acquainted with the dilemma of post-Time War Doctors and their hesitation to change the laws of time. Aside from that, I, once again, really liked the way the story played out. Having our 4 main characters separated, all with their own motivations and goals, as well as having several key figures in the Aztec community with their motivations and goals, seeing just how the 2 groups mingle, backstab, plot against, and manipulate each other. By the time the final episode rolls around, a really compelling dynamic has been set up between all the characters. Barbara trying to maintain this lie, while also attempting to influence the people to change their ways. The conflict between Ian and his Aztec rival. The Doctor using his wit and cunning and actual charm to piece together a plan, with Susan ultimately getting the short end of the stick, basically being sent off to Sunday school. Actually, it was really cool getting to see Barbara utilise her background as a history teacher, putting her skills to good use. Meanwhile, Ian is doing kung fu grips to make people faint? What kind of teacher was he? With all the pieces at play, I'm finding it hard to relay to you how much is going on at once without including major story spoilers. But believe me, it's all easy enough to follow along. The scriptwriters really planned it out quite well until the ending. And even that, I feel, was mostly down to a lot of the Aztec characters have got to, wrap their situation up nicely before the end. Put it this way, I enjoyed all the pieces of this puzzle so much that I felt a little let down when most of the side stories' endings didn't carry as much weight as the stories themselves. Every side plot is given this immense sense of importance, and then when it comes time for the climax, it's just, oh, she's gonna be fine with it. Okay. Hey, they just walked out of the room. Alright. Oh, that character's not in the story anymore? I see. Doesn't ruin the story, but it does kind of take away some of the importance certain characters had. A lot of the flaws I noticed aren't specific to this episode, but like trends I'm starting to pick up on, like William Hartnell fumbling his lines. The action sequences, when cut together, are tolerable, but when left unedited with everything on display in one shot, they suck. Genuinely dumb and confusing. If there is choreography, it looks like they barely rehearsed it, but like, they could have done better. I really count myself thankful that I didn't get to see the full fight scenes in Marco Polo, instead having to settle for the still image reconstruction, because if they're anything like the fight scenes in the Aztecs, yikes. I mean, I can't say it's bad per se, but I'm starting to notice that every single story so far revolves around the group getting separated from the TARDIS with their ultimate goal to get back to it. So it's kind of nice to see that at least Barbara had a different goal here, which, you know, was to change history. But that's the ultimate lesson in the end, you can't change history. But seriously though, whether the crew are being held captive by cavemen, Daleks, Mongolians, Aztec, etc., it just goes back to that joke I made at the start of my previous review. If they had access to the TARDIS, then would they straight up just leave? I guess I'm just hoping for a setup where they don't immediately need to escape, you know? Because sure, the bulk of the episodes are still unique in keeping with the core of the show. This trend just serves to limit each story to the exact same thing. They seem restricted to the formula of arrive somewhere new, get separated from the TARDIS, proceed on an adventure that ultimately has to end the exact same way, with being reunited with the TARDIS. To be clear, not a massive negative yet, but it's starting to feel like the Doctor and co are always being forced into doing something, rather than intentionally seeking adventure or offering help willingly. And hey, maybe it's only a noticeable problem if you're watching each serial one after another like I am in a marathon format, because when viewed as an individual story, so far, each one has been good quality. Except Edge of Destruction, I'm still not over that one. And one final note I have is, when the Doctor isn't behaving like an arrogant prick, I actually find him quite endearing. I certainly hope his harsh exterior softens up over time and we get to see more humanity and empathy from him, because there are small moments where we see brief glimpses shining through. As someone with limited exposure to the First Doctor, I genuinely like William Hartnell's portrayal, and the moments where we get a lighter, kinder Doctor have been some of my favourites so far in this first season. And with that, we bring another review to a close. Fun fact, the Aztecs is one of only a few classic Doctor Who stories that had a second physical re-release in the form of a 2-disc special edition. One of the most noticeable features on the bonus disc is a reconstruction of Galaxy 4, which is the first story of the 3rd season, but we've still got 11 more stories to go until we cover that one, so I ain't gonna be watching that one anytime soon. Speaking of DVDs, this one cost me damn near $30 in 2021. Man, I miss it when Mighty Ape had good sales and actually had things in stock. As always, I am incredibly grateful for every person that watches these videos. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Sensorite. Oh, where's the disc? Oh, it's in my DVD player. I'm a genius.